the fun things about being extraordinarily poor is the creative ways we invent to cut corners to save $1. For example, your mother could buy the 25-cent generic powdered mac and cheese over the fancy $2 box of Velveeta shells and cheese. Instead of paying for 2 tickets to the drive-in movie theater, your mother could throw you in the trunk of her 1972 Datsun. Before buying new clothes, you could just wear your aunt's hand-me-downs, including the very effeminate red sweater with deer dancing across your chest for school pictures. We were the champions of cutting corners. My mother and I could have been classified as white trash, except that she worked 2 jobs. During the week, she was a telephone operator for an army depot. Since she couldn't afford a babysitter, she would take me to work. Watching her answer calls in her World War II headphones while pulling cords from her desk and plugging them into the holes in the switchboard was mesmerizing. On the weekends, she would bartend at the upper deck lounge. As a woman who was 5'10", with long, straight, dark hair that reached her butt, and who looked like Cher with high cheekbones and a beautiful smile, she made more in tips in 2 days than she did working all week long for the government. But still, we never had any money. We lived in a trailer. Not these double-wide trailers that are as big as homes now. I'm talking about the kind of container that semi-trucks haul. It was narrow, propped up on cinder blocks, and was a disturbing color of brown that I don't believe is listed on the spectrum. We were close to the banks of the Mississippi River in Illinois. Flooding was always a fear, but never the cliche of tornadoes. Tornadoes had never formed near the river for some reason. We could swim much better than we could fly, so we were safe for the most part. When living in the Midwest and so close to a body of water, the humidity is stifling. Even when you get out of the shower and dry off, by the time you put your underwear on, you're already soaked with sweat. Especially me, since I was a little butterball. When you're poor, there is no concern about nutrition. You ate what was in the budget. I once ate Bisquick pancakes for a week straight because that's all we could afford.
Wow.
It was really... Reverse it. It was the first really hot, sticky, and humid day of the summer. I was watching a Saturday afternoon horror show called Son of Svengoolie. He was a male version of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, minus the pasties. It was my first time watching Creature from the Black Lagoon, and I was loving it. During a commercial, my mother came into the living room and asked, "Darren, did you poop your pants and hide it in your room?" I said, "No, gross." She says, "Did you throw some wet towels in there or some old food because your room reeks?" I started to freak out because I loved my tiny room. My sheets, pillowcases, and curtains were all the same Star Wars pattern. My mother had bought the material and made everything by hand to cut a corner and save money. We went into my room but couldn't find anything. She says, maybe a possum died under the trailer. She grabbed a hammer and we went outside. A tin apron wrapped around the trailer to the ground, which kept cold wind from freezing us to death in the winter. She pried open the apron and revealed something so vile that even the devil would have averted his eyes. During the winter, the large sewage pipe under the trailer had cracked in half and unaligned. That meant that every drop of dirty dishwater, every shower, every flush of the toilet was pouring directly onto the ground under the trailer. My mother started to gag right away. She didn't do well with bad smells. I was fascinated. It was pitch black and still. There were no ripples. It was like looking at a shark's eye. I felt like it was staring back at me. I just couldn't believe how black it was, except for the wads of toilet paper that were sitting on the top, like tiny white sprinkles on a chocolate cake. Mark Twain was very famous in my hometown, so it makes sense that she concocted this great scheme. She went to our shed and pulled out a 5x5 foot piece of particle board, sat me on this very unstable raft, handed me a roll of tape, informed me that I was going to tape the pipe together, and sent me adrift, like Huckleberry Finn, onto this dark filth. I slowly floated towards the broken pipe under a canopy of cobwebs. She was trying to save money and I was just trying to help. This may have been the wrong time to cut a corner. In her haste, she had made some tactical errors, like How was she going to get me back? She didn't tie a rope to me to pull me back. She didn't give me a broomstick to gondola my way to freedom. Plus, I was 7. I've never duct taped anything in my life. The closest thing I'd ever been was creating a construction paper collage with a glue stick. What did I know about redneck repair? I reached the pipe, and before I could rip a section of tape from the thick gray roll, I heard a pop. I turned my head to the side like a dog when he hears a fart for the first time. Then another pop. Then another. My imagination went wild. I thought it was air bubbles from the Fishman of Sewage Lagoon, coming to drag me under the water and feast on my bones. As I looked down, I discovered that the liquid was separating the particle board. Bits and pieces were popping apart and drifting away. The black sludge slowly came over the sides, creeping towards me. I screamed bloody murder. My mother started to panic and could only form one word. Run! Run, I thought. I couldn't stand up under the trailer. I looked at the exit where my mother stood. It seemed to be about 6 miles away. I dropped the tape and took off into this foul pond, doing a bear walk as quickly as I could. My arms sank into the ooze up to my elbows. My mother yelled, "Don't get any in your mouth!" I closed my lips and my eyes tight. As soon as I was within arm's reach, she grabbed me like a bale of hay and threw me into the grass. She grabbed the garden hose and continued to shoot me until I was shivering from the cold water. She wrapped me in an old towel and started to kiss my face over and over and said, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." That night, she bought me an entire box of Velveeta shells and cheese, and I thought, jackpot, totally worth it.